Hi everyone, this is Mindy Eggen and welcome back to my channel. I have a fun winter card to share with you today featuring Pretty Pink Posh. And today I am using the layered Mittens Stencil. This is a three-piece stencil and they are labeled in the bottom corner A, B, and C, but I'm going to do them a little bit out of order. So A was the open mittens, B is actually the cuffs, and then C is the detail of the mittens, but I'm going to switch that up a little bit. I'm starting with 80-pound white cardstock cut to 4¼ by 5½, and I added some Post-it tape behind it to secure it to my work surface, and then added some tape to the sides to tape it down to my glass work surface. Now I wanted to do every other row as my red, so I masked off the bottom mittens underneath with some Post-it tape, and then I ink blended on some cherry red ink from GINAK Designs. So now I left that mask there and I'm moving on down. This is actually the third row, and I'm masking those areas off so I don't get any red ink there. Now I'm going to move on to the bottom row mittens and just apply some of that cherry red ink. Now I'm moving those masks once again, and this time I am using jelly bean green. So I'm going for a very classic traditional colors for this card today. I'm just going to keep moving my Post-it tape to mask off the areas so I don't contaminate the other color with the green. Now this Post-it tape, it doesn't get a lot of use because of the ink underneath, but you could use Post-it tapes or Post-it notes, anything like that to mask off those areas. So I removed that first layer. Now this is technically layer C, I think, but I'm going to do this first. So I masked off the green ones again, and I'm applying ink to the detail area of the red ones. Now these are going to be very tone on tone. I'm still using cherry red ink. The first time I did the ink blending, I went with a very light hand. This time I'm coming in and applying more of a heavier dose of ink. So I really wanted this to stand out against that soft layer that I first applied. Now, still keeping that same stencil in place, except masking off the red areas, I'm applying Christmas Pine ink. Now, this is significantly darker, so it's really going to stand out against that jelly bean green ink that I first applied. Now I'm going to bring in the final layer, which is the cuffs. And this time I'm using Misty Coast, which is actually from PINKFRESH Studio. It's one of my favorite light grays. I was a little worried that it might look a little dirty, but it actually works out really well. Now, in any of these layers, you could use maybe some glitter paste would look really cool and make your mittens sparkle. But I just went for some nice ink blending and I really love how that turned out. So I'm just going to carefully kind of twist and turn to pick that up and remove that Post-it tape from the back. For the front of the card, I am using this Mitten Shaker die that I die cut from Red Cardstock. Now, obviously you can use it as a shaker, but I am going to use it just as the die cut itself. I also die cut the cuff out of some pixie dust cardstock, and I'm trimming off those edges so that I can layer this on top of my mitten. I'm also going to die cut the Winter Wishes die out of that pixie dust cardstock, and I also die cut it about 2 more times from some heavyweight white cardstock to layer it together. And when I'm done layering those together with my liquid glue, I like to place something heavy on that and let that sit for a minute so it's really secured. I also want to pop up my mitten, and to do this, I am going to take some thin foam squares, attach it to the top of the mitten, and then I'm taking these small ones and trimming them in half, and I'm going to line this around the edge of my mitten. I'm also going to have to place some on that other piece so that everything is nice and flush. After everything is covered in the foam squares, I can remove the backing, and I'm starting with that outline first, placing that in the center of my card. And then I'm going to go ahead and remove the backing on that inner piece and place that inside. I did also use some thin foam squares for the top cuff, which is that sparkly pixie dust cardstock. Then I can add some liquid glue behind my sentiment and attach that to the front. Now there are a little bit of the pieces on each end that overhang, but I didn't worry about that. For the most part, everything fit across my mitten pretty good. So as I put the heavy block on top, let that sit while I apply the liquid glue behind the bottom half of my sentiment. Now you're probably looking at this and going, Mindy, you forgot your tittles. Nope, I didn't. What I'm going to do is take the Holiday Cheer Clay Confetti from Pretty Pink Posh, and I am taking out these little white snowflakes. and I'm going to place them there instead of the small tittle that the die cuts out. So I am just using this embellishment tool to pick up the snowflakes and adding a little dot of liquid glue to attach it. So that finishes up my holiday card project for you today. I really love these traditional colors for the mittens. And seriously, how cute are these mittens? I love them. They make such a great background. All of my supplies will be listed down below in the video description and over on my blog as well. Thanks so much for joining me today.